So as students are trickling in, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself and kind of get started because I'm more of a housekeeping, and then we'll get to the program. So good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Francis, and I am the internship coordinator in the Career Center at Sacramento State. And our goal is to increase students' access and participation in internships. And that is our primary goal because we understand how vital an internship can be to increasing your chances of getting a career track job when you graduate. And so that's why there's a dedicated role, and that's the role that I'm in. And I am your hub of internship information, resources, counseling, and programs like the one that you are participating in today. So, fortunately, because Sac State is part of a network of Hispanic serving institutions and, excuse me, minority serving institutions, any one of our students can apply for some of the phenomenal internship and scholarship opportunities that are being offered by the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, and as we affectionately call, also HACU. So I'm really excited about hearing about these opportunities, um, and I want you to know that there are students who have been awarded these internships who've gone on to be prominent leaders in government and in corporations. And even last year, we had an opportunity to meet two of HACU interns from Sac State from 2000 who graduated in 2016, who are now senior accountants in top firms in the Sacramento region. So, just to remind you, today's session is being recorded. Um, just We want you to keep your microphones and your your cameras off, just so that everyone can see the presentation clearly. Um, and and we're so excited by our guest that we have here today from Haku, and just want to just point out also a shout out and a thank you to Rita Gallardo, who referred and connected us with Erica Romero, who you're going to hear from today. But um, with that, I just want to let you know that if you have any questions, you're going to post them in the chat box, and we'll be responding to those. But I'm going to now turn over the session to Abel Perez, who is another phenomenal Career Center team member, who's going to serve as our moderator and introduce our guests. Abel?
Hi, everybody. So my name is Abel. I'm a Career Center intern, student advisor, and I'm also a liaison to camp. So Stephanie was saying I work with her at the Career Center. And just to let everybody know what we do at the Career Center, we work with students in different services that we offer. We work with uh, searching for exploring different career interests or majors, um, and kind of reviewing resumes and cover letters. But one of the things that we really have an interest in is job and internship search opportunities, and kind of give you guys some resources and ways to explore the different possibilities that there are out there, um, which is kind of what leads us to here. So we're really excited to have Erica Romero here with us to explain about this internship. Um, and so what are some of the benefits of internships is what we like to go over with some of our students. Um, Internships are super helpful because they give you firsthand experience within the career fields that we're trying out. They look great on resumes when applying to new careers, um, to the ideal jobs that we want. Um, it's also a great way to try out a career field interest that you don't know if they align with your set of values and interests and skills that you have. that you're coming in with that fit the criteria of your ideal jobs. Um, it also helps building a network with people that are currently in the job, um, and it helps you get connected to colleagues, future colleagues, and mentors that can possibly give you a hand on your pathway to building that career for yourself. Um, I know one of the highlights of HACU is that they help you develop those skills, those competencies that certain uh, places look for, like communication skills, leadership skills, teamwork, um, and then just to debunk a myth, some of them are also paid. Um, and then one of the last benefits is the pathway to careers. It's a great way to get your foot in the door when many times it also leads to a career. From an internship to full time, the conversion rates is about 56%. So, so that's one of the best benefits of an internship. So, with that being said, we're very happy and fortunate to have Erica Romero here to talk to us about this wonderful opportunity um, to create that opportunity for yourself with these internships. Um, so a little bit about Erica Romero is that she's a vice president for state advocacy for HACU, which is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. Um, and then, did you want to speak on some of your what your
I will.
tasks and roles are?
I will. But first, what I'm going to ask the students to do, because it will help me out, if you could in the chat box tell me what your major is. My name, as was mentioned, is Erica Romero, and I work at HACU. Um, a little background, my parents are both Mexican immigrants, so I'm first generation. I grew up in East Oakland in a not wealthy neighborhood, and I went to what was my commuter campus, which was UC Berkeley. Majored in political science, and after I graduated, I went to work for the Assembly doing Latino media and outreach for 2 years, did political communications for Farmers Insurance in Los Angeles, came back to work for the Senate, and I was sitting at my desk. And one day I got a phone call that thankfully I did not hang up because I assumed it was a joke. It was the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanic Americans. And would I be interested in working for the White House? And I figured nobody calls offering you a job from the White House. It really was. And so tip number one, please network. The reason I got that job was because somebody knew the work I was doing in the state legislature around Latino higher education, and they were looking for somebody who was fluent in Spanish and understood Latino higher ed. So I went to DC, served for a year at the White House Initiative, and I realized everybody whose job I wanted had a master's degree. And so I came home to some very understanding parents who let me study for the GRE and do my applications, because I'm one of those students that does not test well. And as soon as I was done with the apps, my mom's like, okay, Mija, it's time for you to get a job. So I worked for the Port of Oakland on a contract. And I came home, and I will never forget, it was a Thursday. And I'd come home, and it was back in the day when the big application package was you got in, the little package was you got rejected. And I had a big package from USC, which was ironically my second choice. And so I'm like, okay, at least I have a backup. And the next day on Friday, I come home, and my mom's holding a little envelope. And she goes, Mija, you heard from Harvard. And I said, that's fine, Mom. I got into USC. It's fine. I'll go there. And she goes, or if you hug your mom, she'll tell you it's the big package in the kitchen. You got into Harvard. And so my dad's like, congratulations, Mija. I'm like, could we show some enthusiasm, Dad? And on Monday, he came home from work, and he looks at me and he goes, Mija, this Harvard, it's a good school, right? I'm like, yes, Daddy, it's a good school. And it really was, it did not occur to me that my dad would not understand what it meant for me to go to Harvard. They started saving and they came to graduation. But after I graduated, I needed a job like everybody else. And HACU was looking for somebody who had state experience, and I'd worked for both the Assembly and the Senate. They needed federal experience, and I'd worked as a White House appointee, and somebody with a master's degree in public policy and education. I'm like, wow, you literally wrote this for my resume. So I opened the California office in 2005. Stayed for a decade, left 3 years to work for the privates, and then came back home. And I consider myself really lucky to be able to do this. Every spring, I am usually working on legislative issues. I do budget and policy in Arizona, California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. And in the fall, I get to spend part of my time talking about our student services. And I really wish I had known about the programs that HACU had when I was a student, because they really are fantastic. When I meet students randomly, they're like, what's the catch? I'm like, there's no catch. It really is just that great a program. Feel free to ask questions in the chat box. I know Abel will be helping me by moderating those questions. So at any point, feel free to ask. And I will get started. So HACU is a national organization. We were founded in 1986. At the time, there was an understanding that our historically Black colleges played an important role in educating African American and Black students. And so they receive additional funding to educate them. And that our tribal colleges do the same for Native American students. But there was no recognition that colleges that serve large numbers of Latinx students might also need additional resources. So we were created to lobby for what are now Hispanic serving institutions, federally defined as 25% or more Latino students, half of them being low income. And we receive additional funding competitively to help students succeed. And so we have 3 offices at HACU. The Western Regional Office, mine is in Sacramento. I'm 2 blocks from the Capitol. Our DC office houses our federal lobbying office, as well as our national internship program on the federal agency side. Headquarters is home to all of the administration and student services, which includes the corporate internship program, as well as scholarships. There are over 500 HSIs in the US, over 100 of them are in California, and most of them are a HACU member, which your campus is. So as we created these programs, we recognized that at the time, and true today, Latinos were underrepresented in the federal government. Eventually, corporate America also joined us in trying to diversify their workforces. Our federal agencies will do internships year-round, and I will only recommend the year-round option, so a fall or a spring for 3 types of students. You are just ahead of the curve. You were going to graduate in 3.5. You want to walk with everybody else, so you take a semester after having talked to your registrar and financial aid, please, and come work for us for a semester and then come back and walk. You're on the other end of things. You're going to be a super senior. You need 4.5, 5.5 to graduate. You take a semester after talking to financial aid, come do it, an internship with us and walk with everybody else. Or you are graduating in the worst economy possible, thanks to a pandemic. You're graduating without a job. You can apply for our internship program for up to 12 months after graduation. And we do have students who take that paid internship and convert it into a full-time opportunity later. So those are the only ones I generally speaking recommend a fall or spring semester for. Everybody else is usually applying for the summer. At this point, we have over 13,000 alumni of our internship program, so we are large. I know, having grown up low income, I could not have taken the summer off and not worked. The fantastic thing about ours is that all of our internships are paid. Our undergraduates earn $610 a week. Our graduate students earn $680 a week. There are no application fees. We do professional development workshops and cultural events, and I will mention, right now we are completely virtual online. We don't know what summer is going to bring. So at this stage, we still don't know if we're going to be in person or virtual, or if it may end up being a combination of the two. Each campus can decide academic credit, and I know we will have to work with the CSU in order to fill out some paperwork to see if we can make that happen. But some campuses do offer academic credit. And then monitoring evaluation. Every year I got to know Rita because I volunteer with the Chicano Latino Youth Leadership Project. And I had a student who ended up doing an HNIP internship, and she was just struggling with being away from home. And so we checked in on her, made sure she was doing okay. How could we support her? We also deal with roommate issues that inevitably occur. If you have an issue at your workplace, we will work on that. When we are traveling again, we actually pay for your trip to and from orientation, which is in DC, and the internship site. Most of the internships will already be in DC, but we do have some that are throughout the country. Popular question is, can I stay in California? You can. There are some here, but they're more limited. And this is the one time in life you will be paid to get away. So I would highly recommend you take us up on that. And again, once we're traveling again, we can help you find housing. We don't pay for it, but we do make sure that it is reasonable. and you will have HACU. If you're placed somewhere where there are multiple HACU interns, we place you together so that you can reduce the cost and of course place you near public transportation. How do you become a HACU intern? You have to be in a degree seeking program. You have to have completed your first year of college. So you can apply as a first year. As long as you're taking a full load, you can do the summer. I normally recommend to those students, don't submit it until after you completed your first semester, just because you're not going to have any grades on that transcript. The 3.0 GPA is recommended but not required. And I'm going to be honest, on our corporate side, they're more sticklers for that. So the GPA is important there, but we do accept students with below a 3.0. You have to be authorized to work in the US, and that will include our DACA recipients, as well as international students, as long as you already have a work visa. And again, you can apply as long as you're within 12 months of graduation. I'm gonna talk first about the HNIP federal application process. The two processes are different. You can apply to both the federal government and our corporate program. There are no application fees. So obviously, if you're interested in both or think you qualify for both, submit to both. The application is completely online on our website. We're going to ask you for your basic information. Your education section. If you are a transfer student to Sac State, please make sure you give us the information for your community college. You're going to add references, and this is where I'm going to make a personal plea, having had this done to me. Please make sure your references know their references. And so the easiest way, because I know I work with a lot of students, is send them an updated resume. Let them know what you're working on. Part of networking is that you don't lose touch with folks and you are keeping them up to breast on what you're doing so that when they get the phone call for a reference, they know what to say about you. You're going to add your work history. And for the federal side, it's not actually a resume. You'll actually enter the data. But I will also encourage you to please visit Career Services. They do some amazing work on resumes. I've seen some resumes. I wish I had that resume. So they can go through it for you, and then you will enter that data. You're going to write an essay, and you're essentially going to tell us what you want to do. And that's because 90% of our students will actually be offered a job after graduation. We want you to keep it broad enough so that, for instance, I met somebody who would only work for SAMHSA, which is the mental health organization for the feds. That was the only thing he was willing to do. He tailored his essay for working for SAMHSA, and he actually got it. But for most of you, for those of you who are the English majors, the business majors, I saw some STEM majors, keep it broad enough. Don't mention an agency, because we may not have anything that fits for you in the agency you mentioned, but we may have a good fit for you somewhere else. So remember, this is going across the federal agencies. But we also want you to have a good idea of what you want to do in the future, because as I mentioned, not only are you likely to receive a job offer, but these are project-based. So I want to give you some examples of things you'd be doing. We had a student who was interested in health who did research on obesity and diabetes in the Latino community for the National Institutes of Health. The student who worked at SAMHSA that I mentioned earlier, he actually ended up writing what became regulations on how to prevent childhood suicides. We have folks working at the US Department of Agriculture who are doing research, and we have folks who are doing more applied work. For those of you who are kinesiology majors, we have folks working at the Department of Veterans Affairs with our veterans. And so it is across majors. So make sure you give us some idea, especially if you're early on in this process in your education career, where it's not obvious where you're going yet. Make sure that you have given us enough in that essay. And I cannot stress this enough. You have a writing center, have them read that essay before you hit the submit button, or at least have somebody look it over. And at bare minimum, because I've seen essays like this, you need to run spell check. I will mention this is a competitive process. We will only accept 10% of our applicant pool. And I don't say this to discourage you from applying. You absolutely should, but that also means you need to submit to us the best work possible. You're gonna upload your documentation. It's an enrollment verification form, which you download from our website, and it's your registrar normally who fills it out. We're going to ask you for official transcripts and then confuse you by telling you to open them, which makes them unofficial. There's a story behind it. Sorry, we really do need your official transcripts. Just do it. And then a letter of recommendation from a faculty member. And just as somebody who made this mistake as an undergrad in particular, please get to know your faculty, because you're going to need those letters of recommendation. And it is helpful to know more than one faculty member so that you can ask multiple members of the faculty when you need recommendations for graduate school or anything else. Once you submit your application, you are matched to the federal agencies. So we don't pick you, they do, which is why it's essential for that application to look great, because some of our federal agencies actually just pick on the application. We're matching everything from your major to the courses you took. We'll send them the apps. They sometimes do phone interviews. If you've never done a phone interview, it's nerve-wracking. There's no way for us to see how we're doing, right? In an in-person interview, it's easy to sort of gauge because of body language. With the phone, there's nothing. A lot of us are doing Zoom or some type of online interview now. And I actually had this experience with a student the other day. I grew up low income. I know that if I had to do this in college, I'd be in my bedroom too. But at least make the bed, make sure your environment is neat, that you're wearing something that still projects that I'm here for a business career. Dress the best that you absolutely can for these interviews. It's incredibly important. Most of our internships are going to be offered 1 to 2 months in advance, but quite frankly, sometimes they're offered last minute. Again, if we are back in person, we will handle housing if you want us to, though we won't pay for it. And we will pay for travel and arrange it. And then orientation is still happening even in an online space. These are some, but not all, of our federal agencies. For anybody who requires a national security clearance, so that's Treasury, Commerce, anybody who deals with money, we've had them in the past at the Mint. Obviously, any of you who are criminal justice majors who might be interested in the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, apply by October 30th. It takes a very long time to get a national security clearance. So it's October 30th for next summer. For the vast majority of you, you don't have to worry about this until February. Not all of our internships are in DC. And again, this is the one opportunity you will get to be paid to go somewhere else. These are some of our other internship sites. I always recommend you take the opportunity to go elsewhere. So again, our most popular is summer. The early application deadline is the 30th. The regular deadline is February 12th. As the last office that is open, I'm going to plead with you, please do not wait until February 12th, because inevitably at 4:59, my cell phone goes crazy because our website has gone down and students are calling in a panic trying to figure out what to do. Please hit that submit button before. And the other reason you want to hit submit before is because, as I mentioned, we're actually pairing up resumes with our agencies. We're not waiting until February 12th so that the agencies have time to review. So the sooner you can submit a good quality application, the better. And again, you have a spring or a fall option as well. And there are students who take that. Our students have a great time doing the internship program. Again, we have 13,000 alumni. So whether you're at the US Mint or at the Library of Congress, which takes quite a few of our students, the Census Bureau, and I will make a pitch, if you've not filled out your census form, please do so, you still have some time. It is a great opportunity to get to know the federal government and find out if it's somewhere you want to work. These are some of our corporate partners. You'll notice some of them are definitely in California. Google and Oracle are here. Deloitte has some offices here. So yes, you have the opportunity to do them here. But again, you may be asked to travel. The corporate application process, you are going to email a one-page resume to chnip@hacu.net. I cannot stress this enough. One page. If you send us more than one page, we're actually tossing it because you can't follow instructions. So we take it quite seriously. We are going to pre-screen you. And we have received feedback from both our corporate in particular, but even government, that our students aren't interviewing well. In part, this is a cultural difference. I started this presentation by telling you a little bit about myself. And in our culture, it is important to get to know people. But in corporate America, they need you to answer the question efficiently. If you have never done an interview for a corporate job, I cannot stress this enough, please talk to Career Services. They can do mock interview classes with you so that you have that experience. If you pass our mock interview at HACU, then we send you on to the corporate interview. They have been known, when we're actually in person, to fly people out. Right now, it's obviously mostly a Zoom type interview. And then they will select you. The pay is actually fairly comparable during the internship program. The main difference will obviously be once you get out into out of the internship into real world jobs. Corporate America tends, not always, but tends to pay better. I will say the feds tend to have better benefits, which once you get older is a serious, huge plus. Um, I will, I'm going to stop after this and I'll let Abel ask any questions that came up on the internships, and we will take questions again after I'm done with scholarships. So if you think of anything, you can also ask later. But I will stress that doing an internship is incredibly important. 90% of our students are offered a job. Most jobs are never posted. You're going to get it through word of mouth. So making those contacts early, networking early is important. And as I mentioned earlier, I volunteer with the Chicano Latino Youth Leadership Project, and I do 1 month with college students. And inevitably, one student at the end of every year will come to me and say, "Thank you so much for everything you did. I never want to work at the Capitol again." I consider this a success because the student figured it out before they made it their career. So this is a great opportunity to figure out whether or not this really is what you want to be doing and to change before you are spending a lifetime being miserable. So please do an internship either through us or through somebody else. They're incredibly important. And I will stop here to answer any questions.
Okay, Erica, thank you for that information so far. So some of the questions that we've been receiving are kind of specific to certain students. So the first one is going to be, do they qualify to participate if they are not currently enrolled as a student?
They do not. Let me amend that. If you are within 12 months of graduation, you do. So if you've already graduated and you're within 12 months, you do. Otherwise, you do not.
Okay. The second question is, would it benefit a major like sociology with this sort of an internship? And if so, in what ways?
It would. So internships benefit students regardless of what your major is, right? You make those connections, you figure out what you're going to do. With sociology, you may decide that what you want to do is research, and we have a research component to some of the internships. You may think you want to do research, go in, find out that's absolutely not what you want to be doing, and try something else for the next time. But at least now you know that's not the part of sociology that you care about. So I recommend an internship for everybody.
And then I have a question. I think this is just more to clarify about the GPA requirements. So the requirements for corporate are going to be more strict, more so than the federal agencies. Is that correct?
Yeah, so corporate America tends to be sticklers for that 3.0 GPA. They are very much concerned about what your GPA is. The feds are not so much. I was not, honestly, a 3.0 student at Berkeley. I failed my entire sophomore year. Turns out you can't campaign and go to school full time. And I had a hard time with corporate America. They were not willing to see past that. Thankfully, I ended up having a lifetime of career right because folks on the government side did see past that. So if you don't have that 3.0 GPA, the one thing I will say that I made sure to do is everything I submit was reviewed, right? When I was applying to graduate school, those essays were looked at. I studied really hard for the GRE to make up for the undergraduate GPA. I also wrote a letter explaining that if you took out my sophomore year, my GPA was much higher, which explained why I had the lower GPA. And let me stress this enough. I do not recommend anybody take my route. Don't fail an entire year. It is not a good life choice. The most important thing you should be focused on is your coursework. I was lucky that life ended up working out. But yes, corporate America is very much going to look at that GPA as part of their selection process.
Okay. I have a question here. Does HACU internship program, do they accept CPT or OPT? I think this is more.
Sorry, I don't actually know what the
I think this
acronym
is
stands
one of
for.
our international students.
It's international. I will need you to email that question to our HNET program in DC because I don't know the specific answer. And the email is at the end of this presentation.
Okay. which of the federal partners admits communication majors?
So the answer is I can't tell you because each year they submit for different requirements. So we are still receiving the job descriptions from the feds. They are also bogged down thanks to COVID. So we're still in the process of receiving all of those job descriptions and requirements.
We also have a question here on limitations for the internship. Is there any age limitations?
There's not, as long as you have completed your first year of college, by the time you're starting your internship. We have graduate students. We have had folks in their 40s and 50s who do our internship program as graduate students because they've gone back. So there really is no age limit.
I got a question here on the essay and the resume. How much is the essay weighed compared to the resume? And are there what are some of the things that to make the essay stand out more?
So it depends sort of on the agency and what they're looking for. The essay is a great writing sample, right? So if writing is important to them, they are definitely going to be looking at that essay. Again, I have seen students submit to me without even running spell check in a program where we accept less than 10% of the applicant pool. If you're not running spell check, you're not being admitted, right? Unless they really need, right? You're one of our STEM folks where writing not that big a deal and they really wanted your coursework in the STEM field where you have a great GPA. So it does balance out, but if you're a communications major and there are typos and grammar issues everywhere, that's gonna be a red flag to them. So things you can do to stand out. Again, I will stress this, please visit your writing center. They're there for you. Have them take a look at that essay to help you make it crisp. Follow the instructions that we give you on the prompt and just highlight yourself, right? You want them to know what you're interested in doing, but use it as an opportunity to tell them why you would be great at doing what you're interested in doing. So it's something that, especially for our Latinx students, we are told to be humble. Don't be that humble. We need both your resume and the essay to stand out and just show them how amazing you
are. And then that's all the questions that the students have, but I think I would like to reiterate for the essay portion of it, what should be included or the requirements that they look for as far as like the corporate section to be considered for certain.
So for corporate, they actually don't look for that. They may ask you for a writing sample later, but it's actually, the corporate side is only the one-page resume. So it's right, we're gonna toss it if it's not one page, and it's just making sure it's crisp and that it includes important information.
Okay. And same question, but for on the federal side?
So it will again depend by the federal agency and what they're looking for, right? They're going to be more forgiving for a STEM major because they're not necessarily focused on the writing side. But for our folks who are going to be in positions where they're writing, they're looking for crispness. Did you answer the question? Do I, based on my job description, think that you'd be a good fit for the agency? And I will say, if we've had students who have applied their first year and worked their way through their entire academic career with us. We have had students who start applying their first year and don't get an internship until the third year. Sometimes it's a matter of not having a particularly good fit. So I always encourage students to keep applying. And the one thing I forgot to mention, we do get asked frequently, and it was not asked here, but I'll bring it up anyways. Will I receive multiple offers? So we accept less than 10% of our applicant pool. Most students will never receive more than one offer. Having said that, we do have some amazing students who get more than one offer. You can choose the one that's best for you. If you get an offer and you reject it, it is absolutely your right. If you see the job description and the agency and you're like, never mind, I don't want to do this, it is absolutely your right to reject the offer. Just know it may be the only offer you receive from us.
Somebody just asked a question. What is an example of those amazing students who get an offer?
So multiple offers. We have some majors that are more in demand than others. So It is actually particularly hard, believe it or not, library sciences. So the Library of Congress is one of our biggest um, folks. There actually aren't that many library science majors left across the nation. So they'll likely receive an offer. Anybody in our STEM fields, it is hard to particularly find our Latinx students since they're looking to diversify in the STEM fields. Anybody in business majors, we do accept all the majors, but I will be honest, STEM, business, those are going to be in higher demand and you may receive multiple offers.
Okay.
So I want to talk about our
All right,
scholarships. As somebody who's still paying off her master's degree, it is much better when somebody else pays for it than when you do. And as you are at a HACU member institution, you are eligible to apply for our scholarships. So right now, the Denny's Hungry for Education Scholarship is still open. The deadline to apply is November 20th. And I just want to be fully transparent because it's an issue that comes up every year. We have finally gotten them to most of our sponsors to allow DACA recipients to apply. Unfortunately, at this time, our AB 540 students and undocumented students that don't qualify for DACA are not eligible to apply. This is not based on a HACU requirement, but rather on our sponsorship requirements. We are working with our sponsors to try and get them to change that. But for right now, that is universally one of those issues. What does it take to apply to a HACU scholarship? You have to attend a HACU member institution, which you are at. If you are deciding that you want to go to graduate school, know that there are over 100 California member institutions and 500 across the country. So you are most likely attending one of our campuses. You're going to have a good GPA, previous internship experiences, leadership experiences, something that always gets our attention in the scholarship app, which is why we also tell you to visit career services. Students leave off involvements with student clubs, whether they're active in their church. Are they at a community-based organization or nonprofit? For some reason, our students are not listing that, and we are looking for that. So please make sure you have listed it on the resume. National or international experience, and I'll talk about opportunities through HACU for both. The HACU Adelante Leadership Institute is part of our national conference. I know students this year are really bummed, and quite frankly, so are faculty and staff. In 2 weeks, we were supposed to have been at Disney World in Florida. We will be doing these things from our living room or home office. But last year we were in Chicago and we had 600 students join us in person and then 1,400 faculty administrators join us for our national conference. For the students, it includes things like a professional headshot, leadership development. Google does a workshop that's incredibly popular. We also have folks who want to talk to you about how to get into graduate school and pay for it. The nice thing is that we have, as is listed there, student track scholarships. The scholarships pay for your airfare, your hotel, and our registration fees, which include most but not all of the food. This year it has already passed just because we're going to be online in 2 weeks. If you happen to have an extra $155, which I know for a student is tough, or somebody who's willing to sponsor you, we do still have some student slots available for this year. It is online. Next year, we are going to be in Aurora, Colorado at a gorgeous resort. So if you are still going to be a student next year and are interested in this professional development opportunity, the application is usually posted in March, and the deadlines are usually in June. In addition to our scholarships and conference, we do have a resume database. It's listed there. It is free for you to post. We have business partners who are looking for talented students, so feel free to list your resume there for free. And we normally do regional summits. Those are obviously on hold because of COVID. The closest right now that I know of, CSU San Bernardino has offered to host us, so in Southern California, but they are on hold until we can travel again. And then international opportunities. As a high school student, I got to go to the Soviet Union when it was still the Soviet Union. It was the year before the wall fell. And it was a fantastic opportunity to be there and see live in person and experience the different cultures, the different expectations. I happened to pick up languages quickly, so I was having conversations with folks in my choppy Russian by the end of this. But I didn't do it for study abroad as a college student, and I regret that. We do have scholarships available for study abroad. If you have the chance to make it work with graduation, I highly recommend you take the opportunity to do study abroad. This is our DC office. Rather ironically right now, all of the, whenever our DC office is busy, it transfers to my cell phone. So what I'm going to do right now, entering this in here, is that's my email address. It's in the chat box. And I'm giving you my cell phone. The one thing I would ask with the cell phone, please text or call at reasonable hours. And then if you have a question I couldn't answer, it's on that slide, but I'm also giving you the email address for our DC staff. And somebody participated in the Adelante Leadership Institute. If you want to speak up right now, I would be okay with you taking yourself off mute. And I will leave it up to Abel because I think it's always best when a student tells their story and what they experienced. Or if you want to throw anything else in the chat box, feel free.
Hello, I can definitely speak on the Adelante experience. My name is Jose Gallegos, and I'm currently a senior at Sacramento State. So I participated on the HACU conference when it took place in San Diego, California. I think it was fall 17, I believe. So it was such a great experience because that was, for me, that was the first professional development conference that I had the opportunity to attend. So it was really nice to be able to get be on the workshops and learn new skills, and also meet different Latinos from different parts of the country. I remember that summer, prior to the internship, prior to the conference, I've done an internship in DC, and it was really, really cool because one of my friends that I met while I was doing my internship also had that opportunity to attend to the Adelante Institute. So it was really nice to reconnect with him and also talk about future opportunities. I got that opportunity to connect with folks from the California Department of Education and with other agencies and private nonprofit agencies as well. So it was really nice. So if any of you is interested in applying for this institute, I highly recommend you all to do it. I reapply again for this year and I got it, but unfortunately due to personal reasons, I'm not gonna be able to attend. But it's such a great opportunity for all of you to put yourself out there, and explore the different opportunities for you available.
Thank you, Jose, for sharing your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I will stop here and see if we have any more questions.
Okay, so I think if you guys have any questions, I'm just gonna kind of go over a few things here. We just wanted to reiterate that that this program is open to all majors, and you guys could continue to ask questions also. So
oh, and I should mention, although we're a Latino organization, you actually do not have to be Latinx to apply.
And also we want to emphasize the deadline. The deadline for this program is October 30th. So please make an effort to come in and check out the Career Center. We're available to help you with services to get prepared for it. Me and Stephanie are going to be putting up a HACU workshop on the 15th of October from 12 to 1, where we can talk about what are the requirements for the application, how we could best help you. And you could sign up for that on Handshake Events. It'll be posted, and just register, and we could get you signed up there for the workshop.
Can I say a little bit more about that before you go to the next thing? Just really quick, because of everything that you just heard from Erika and how important it is to, really be prepared for this opportunity. That's why we're having that October 15th workshop next week, so that those of you who want to get in for that early deadline on the 30th can get the assistance you need. And so it's really going to be very hands-on. Anyone who gets there, we're going to make sure everybody um, understands again sort of these guidelines that Erika and these tips that she shared. And then after the workshop, Abel and I and other Career Center staff will also be available for any, one-on-one follow-up to help you, read through those essays and share with you all the resources on the campus that actually will help you with all of that so you can be successful in applying and know that everything that you've learned here as well as what you'll learn and the assistance you'll get in the workshop uh, is not only going to help you to perhaps be successful getting this HACU internship, but it's going to be very helpful for any internship application that you get. Like if you the standards that you're trying to meet for this internship are maybe a lot higher than even for other opportunities. So if you can put together a good application for this, then you're going to have something you can use for other opportunities. So we really want to encourage you to come to the follow-up workshop.
Also, we just like to remind everybody that this info session is being recorded, so you could also go back and review it on your own time. I know some people came in a little later, so you could go back and review it and get some information, or you can always check in with us. Uh, you can email us and we could go over some of the important information that you have some questions about. So I don't see any new questions. So is there anything else that you guys would like to end with?
Oh, we just got a question. Yes, spring placements are less competitive. Summer is most definitely our most competitive season because it's when most students can take time off. So again, if it works with your graduation plan and the financial aid office, you can absolutely do a fall or spring semester with us. The one thing I will encourage, we had a student who did that and now we can't get them to go back to graduate. As a Latinx organization that champions Hispanic success in higher education, always remember that degree is more important than the job you're doing. You'll earn more when you finish it, but you can absolutely come spend a semester with us. The largest number of opportunities, the question was, are there still as many opportunities in the spring? The largest number are in summer. We normally take about 400 students in the summer. We have about 150 students placed right now for this fall, and it's usually about the same number for spring.
All right, Erica. Do you have any final comments?
I just really want to encourage students, and I now sound like my mother, but please apply. The worst thing that they can say is no, and you could be pleasantly surprised. So take an opportunity. Always apply, because if you don't, the answer is automatically no. So please apply to our programs, take our internships, take our free scholarship money, take advantage of everything you have available to you.
I concur. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for sharing all your information with us, and hope to see uh, all the students come in and apply and come and check us out in the Career Center, or we could help you guys out, get prepared for those application process, and go over resume development and the letter writing, and as well as some of the interviewing techniques that we can help you get prepared for if it gets to that point. But again, thank you so much, Erica, for taking the time and giving us that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.